went into town today and I picked up some more abrasive for the glass beater. Now, what I've been using is the glass beads that are tiny little beads of glass. They're nice because they aren't real aggressive. But what they had is crushed glass. It's actually like recycled bottles. Now, this is where all your beer bottles end up. But ground into like a fine sand. Now that's a little more aggressive because it's got sharp angles to it. It isn't round like the other one. But it's cheap. 50 pounds is like $7.50. And the same, this is coal slag, which is a pretty aggressive abrasive. And there again, like $7.50 for a 50-pound bag of it. So cheap, Now, this is an experiment I wanted to try. It's black walnut hulls crushed. Now, it's the kind of thing, you use in tumblers and stuff. Now, a 10-pound bag of that was right around 30. But I kind of have an idea in mind for this, because you can use this for like polishing wood or etching wood if you hit it hard enough, because the shells are pretty hard, and being ground like that, they have angular corners, so they bite a little bit. So my thought, it might be a good thing to try to take off a finish on a gun stock, or like on those two, like an axe handle where you get the varnish on them. It might do a good job of eating that off without damaging the wood itself. So I'm going to experiment a little. I thought about it after I left town. There's a particular gun I've been looking at. It's a single-shot bolt-action 22 Winchester. Now, I really have no need for this gun, but I've seen it, all winter. It's been there, and it isn't very expensive. But the reason is that it's a nice little gun, and the metal is in nice shape, but somebody put some really horrible brown paint, thick like enamel, on the stock, and it's all streaky looking and stuff. It looks horrible, but I think the wood underneath looks good. And like I said, the metal is good. But like I said, I don't really need it. A single shot, I think it only shoots shorts. But it's a real long barrel, and it's got really nice peep sights on it and stuff. So I might end up doing that. Like I say, I just feel sorry for it. And I think I could blast that paint finish off with these walnut hulls without doing the wood any damage. But if it did, it wouldn't be a big crime. But I wouldn't want to start on a real good gun and screw it up. So I'll maybe try that just as an experiment. Because like I say, I've kind of felt sorry for that gun. Somebody did a horrible thing to it. And I wouldn't want to use even the glass beads on wood. They will eat a little bit. But I think this stuff, and like this won't etch metal. You could polish up metal. Well, think like in a tumbler, what it does on a soft brass, it just polishes it. It doesn't chew it up. So I think that's the idea. But these came from a company called Northern Tool and Equipment. Now, I don't know that this is a nationwide deal. It might only be something that's around in the Midwest or something. But they're like, they carry like similar stuff to what Harbor Freight carries, but it's a cut above the quality of Harbor Freight. They've got some Chinese stuff in there, but it's like the better Chinese stuff. And they've got a lot of American stuff in there. Like all this media was all made in this country. But I think, like I say, they're a cut above what Harbor Freight. I can't really bring myself to buy Harbor Freight stuff. My brother does once in a while, but he usually regrets it. And he always swears to himself he'll never do it again, and then later he does it. But I've been happy with the stuff that I get out of this Northern Tool. You know, they carry a lot of big regular brand name stuff, but at a reasonable price. But I'm going to have to try, you know, this stuff I figured I got 100 pounds of that because he's got, you know, a lot of stuff that he's working on, restoring them old tractors and stuff where you're dealing with heavy rust. And that stuff is so cheap. There you could use it on a regular sandblaster, you know, to do big pieces that is cheap enough. Even this glass stuff, you know, is cheap enough, the ground glass. The beads are a little higher, you know, and like this walnut, you wouldn't want to use that on nothing except, like I say, special stuff. But I've loaded some of this crushed glass up. I'm going to try it on some cast iron one of these days and see how that works. But I think for his use, that'll be better. But it's easy to switch. You know, there's just a trap door on the bottom that you flop open. And then I've got a screen that you can sift it out, because you can get like big pieces of rust or paint or like gasket material can get in it, and it'll plug up the feed on the beater, so you got to blow it back all the time. So if every time you switch it, you run it through that screen. That works. But I'll have to get some more of the glass beads. But I think for his purposes, you know, I like the glass beads because, especially on a soft material like aluminum, they don't chew it up. But most of his stuff he's working on is, you know, steel and cast iron. And I think that or that coal slag. So that's good. It's all recycled material, really.